Welcome to TAG. We showed you us unboxing the DC to DC converter. You can watch that right up here. And now I'm going to show you how to pull this sucker out. First, you grab this orange wire right here and you give her a yank. Oh boy.
Technology, automotive, and gaming. A pretty watch. Look at Derry too.
Whoa.
TAG, you're it. It's alright, buddy. You can sit this one out. I got you a new hat.
Okay.
Alright, now we're going to do this properly. The first thing you have to do is disconnect both batteries. This is a hybrid system. So we have the hybrid battery, the lithium ions, and a regular lead acid 12 volt. We'll take those off, show you how's that done, and then we'll get down to the grittiness and the dirtiness of it. Well, it's electrical, so I don't know how dirty it truly will be. But we're still going to get down to it and tear it out. Prepare for that. Right, so we're going to take all this stuff out. Now to do this, to get to the battery, we simply unlock these little things, pull this whole section out, just like that. Take the plastic tray, which is also used as a storage area. It's quite convenient, I think. And then we'll get down to the battery right there. Now there is the main battery right here, and it's this clip right here. You simply pull that way, pull it out. Now we have to get to the lead acid battery over here as well. Right, so unfortunately, they put the damn nut battery cable right over there. It's so annoying to get to. Why they do that, I don't know. But this is super convenient, that's quite nice. So we'll have to get in there with a wrench. We can't unfortunately use a ratchet because there's just no damn space. So let's get our wrench. It's most likely an 8 or 10 millimeter because most foreign cars are. Right, so we're going to use a 10 millimeter to take this off. Now, I like to use the hex side here, just because it's easy to get into and you're guaranteed always to have a nice spot. And you have to remember your lefty-loosey, righty-tighties. I prefer counterclockwise, clockwise, because I don't know my left from my right. Loosen up just so, doesn't have to be perfect, just enough to pop her right off. And make sure she's not touching the battery. And once that's undone, and this little connection for the hybrid battery system, very simplistic, but it does the job, we can now touch it safely. But we're still going to check with the voltmeter to make sure we don't have any juice go into that AC to DC converter. So, you need your number 2 Phillips screwdriver, your ratchet, 10 millimeter, and an extension. Now, I like to use the welds here from the windshield wipers to put on my tools, mainly because it's nice and deep and you can't lose anything. Quite nice that way. So the first thing I'm going to take off is the air filter. I'm going to do this because we need to get into the cooling system and we're in the mounting bolts for the AC to DC converter. That's a bitch. We unscrew the clamp there. As such, should be good enough. Take off these pins, just pull right out. Then we slowly work this thing out. Now there is a connector right here. Now you can take it off if you want, but I've learned with those plastic connectors, they break, so no point in that. Take out a filter, and we have 2 screws right here, which we'll use our 10 millimeter to take out. Get that one out. Out, out, out. That one out. And it should pop right out. There, that's a nasty screw. In fact, I want another extension. Don't like doing excessive work, so if you have extra extensions, leave them around. Excessive work, this is too much. Now normally I would take these and put them in a bag and label it, but we don't have that many in the first place. This job isn't quite that hard. So I say forget that and we'll just get down to the job at hand. And quite frankly, most of the screws are exactly the same. Except for these, and you'll know. Because they're very large. Right, this airbox just pop out. Got some pins here holding in tubing for coolant. Take that tubing out from the pinch pin there. So we have another one. We have another one underneath the hybrid system sign here. I didn't realize that. That's annoying. Plastic stuff in cars is annoying. Right there, if you can see that. So I'm gonna rip that out. Right, that was more work than it should have been, but there's a stupid little plastic notch there. If you can see right there, and that notch got in the way, so you're gonna have to pinch that in to get it out. But it's popped in right there. Right through there. Okay, so now that we got that out, we need to get a flathead screwdriver or a knife. I always have a knife. Take our knife and we pop the pinch holes up. Annoying things. And it should slowly move out. Now, I actually never have this plastic stuff on my car. I don't like plastic crap on my car. I immediately remove it. It's excess weight and it provides no rust coverage whatsoever. Pull that right off. Always have a knife, folks. It helps you out a lot. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to remove this cover. Now, you have to make sure you do this carefully because underneath there is your electrical components. So when you move that cover, we're going to use a voltmeter just to be safe, to check and make sure it's not electrical still. Now, make sure you never lose your bolts. And if they're too rusted on, which we'll find out they're not, then we will probably have to spray it. But this car isn't that old, which is a shame that I already failed. Now, I'm just loosening them up just nice, so that way I can do them with my bit by hand, because it's a bit quicker. If you have an electric drill, it's even nicer. This is tedious indeed. Should have got my drill. Next time use a drill. It takes forever. Damn leaf blower. Doing important work here. With blowing leaves. Right, so we take this cover off nice and slow. Now that's dangerous. Very dangerous. That's where all the electricity will be. That's where we're going to take a voltmeter and check it out. Make sure it's not electrical. Warning, that is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Right, as we check here, we can see the voltmeter is moving just randomly, but that's just small amounts. Again, that's 0.001. 001, and you can always change the volts to regular volts. VAC, VDC, none, basically none, basically none, basically none. Basically none, basically none, basically none, and I'm going to these, basically none, basically none, basically none, and basically none. So we should have no shock whatsoever. If you're that worried about it, wear rubber gloves. I shall not. Alright, so again we're going to undo these screws right here, and we'll undo all of these, and then we'll pull these out as well, and then it'll pop right out. We do these first just because I'm doing these first. Now I've separated them because of the different wells here to know exactly kind of where I'm going. I'm also going to take this bracket off here because there's no point in undoing that, and it'll put it back on afterward. And you might as well do this bracket as well because it holds in that electrical component. And the screws are here and here, which hold it right on in. Now I'm going to separate the brackets into one of the little wells here. Those screws will go there, and the electrical screws will go over there. Now, like I said, you can use baggies, but I'm not doing that today. Right, so I moved all of these here, and these connect the brackets and these cables to here. We still have the inner ones to get rid of, but also notice this has a stupid pinch thing, so I'm going to take my knife, because you should always have a knife, and kind of pry up on it and pull it right off. And that should give you enough space because you have this wire right here to remove. There's no point removing all the brackets if you don't need to. It just saves time. Now we're going to remove all of these right here, the power ones. As you can see, I touched them and I did not get electrocuted at all. So we'll take those out, and then we should be able to disconnect all the electrical components. Alright, so I took all of these screws out, and now we should just gently pull each one of these components out. Now, they're quite thick, so you don't want to get and bend anything, because this is very important stuff. Very important, you know. You don't want to bend your member. You know that's for sure. And this one right here should pull out too, because we pulled out these screws here, plus this mount. So we have these out, so now we have to take the one out over here. There's a pinch thing in there. Now, I hate pinch things. I despise them very much so. So this might take a bit of work. For this, I'm going to use a pliers. Not sure where to completely use them. Don't know if I did the right thing. I did! Look at that! First time round. Ha ha! It just came right undone. A pinch thing that actually works! Oh my god, that's ridiculous! A pinch that actually works. I've never had plastic pinches work. Generally, I end up zip tying and taping my stupid electronic components back, or cutting off and getting a brand new one, because those pinches always break. But we got it! All electric components are disconnected now. Now we have the coolant to take off, and the mounts. So we have this mount here, these brackets that need removed. Over here, we have the mount right there. We have this main mount right here. And then we have the mount over here as well. Now all these mounts must be removed, and then we will do the coolant after that, because we want to be able to save as much coolant as possible. As you can see, it's very clean. So if we can save as much as possible, that would be best. So let's get to it. Right, so these are quite rusted, so we'll see how they go. If they don't go, then we'll have to get some lube on them. Yes, I feel like they'll need some lube. Definitely some lube. Lube's always good. It makes things nice and smooth when you're screwing things. Bugger. We'll need lube for all those. Let's focus on the other ones here. They should go off quite nicely. There we go. I'm going to add my other extension here. Alright, let's move over to the other side there. I'm going to move that one now, right down there. That's why these extra extenders really do come in handy, for sure. Right. There we go. Gotta remember your righty-tighty, lefty-loosies. Alright, there we go. Move on to these right here. I'm just gonna have no choice but to lube them up real good and let them soak. Right, so as you can see, I've soaked these up real nice, and they come off real good there. And we're gonna loosen them all up. There we go. Smooth as butter. There we go. Now, I'll tell you before, if I wouldn't have lubed these up, I probably would have stripped them right off. And I let it soak for quite some time. I'd say a good 10 to 15 minutes, if not more. Get that lube right in there. And once the lube's in there, it works its way down. She comes off real easy now. So, I think what we should do first is, because we have this long hose over here that connects here, and we have this hose right there, which we'll take the pins off with, is we're probably going to end up doing that one first and then this one after. And if we can save as much fluid as possible, that would be fantastic. Now I'm going to use a different tool for this. I'm going to use a Cotter Pin Tool. I'm a big fan of these. They're very cheap. You just buy them at your auto parts store or any hardware store, and they have this little flare right there. They're made for cotter pins, and as you've seen in our airplane video, but yet they work for everything, I think, for hoses, for anything to pry out. Now if you come down here, you see this little catch right there. I'm going to use that catch to get to the clip, and that's why I loosen up the bolts first, because if you loosen up the bolts on the mounts, you can get in there and move this thing around and get yourself a better grab. Now don't lose these plastic tips. Come right off like that. We're going to lose some of the fluid out of the AC to DC converter itself. The catch pan underneath to catch all the excess fluid, but I'm probably not going to use that because my pan is dirty. Alright, so we have the other one over here. What?
We are actually draining
I know that. It's just
the
cool.
whole reservoir.
Oh, because this side.
Yes.
Oh dear. Well, I made a mistake. We're draining because I didn't do that reservoir. So my brother's going to assist me and hold on to that side. I'll have to take this out quickly. So I'm gonna undo that. Hold it in there. Okay. Right, I'm losing fluid still. Do you mind assisting me, bro, in taking that thing out? If you're still capable of doing so. Clipped on something? Oh no, we forgot to take out an electrical component. Well, now that we lost all of our coolant, oopsie daisy, we also forgot one electrical component. Right down here, we have a component that has to come off. Right, after much playing and learning, we learned that the screw to take this off is right there. We were overthinking the whole thing. So we'll take that bolt off. We might need a deep socket for this. Nope, we didn't. No deep sockets. Stupid pieces of plastic crap. I hate plastic crap. Bothers the crap out of me. Either way, that's off now. Right, so now that we got that stupid plastic crap off, we have the old DC to AC converter out, and we shall grab the new one. I got some fluid on me. Grab the new one, throw that in, and since we did lose all of the coolant, I had to put more coolant in. And we need a special type of coolant. It is inverter coolant. I'm assuming you just get some at Toyota. I don't know if they have that in your local auto parts store. We'll throw the new one in, it should be just a jiffy. Now, my brother, would you mind come over the new one so I can throw this one in? Right. You recovering okay? Alright. Right there. So, just as the old one is, the new one goes in the exact same way. Now this one actually had all brand new screws for it, which is nice. I already took this one off because we don't really need to be monkeying around with all that stuff. And as always, you'll take off the other screws all around here to put the new one in. Yeah, I would suggest using the new ones. The old one's not bad either, so it's hard to choose, but I'll probably use these. They're about the same, so get right to it. I'll take all of these off, and we'll plug it back in. I'll show you how to put it all back together. Right here, so I got all my screws out of here for the electrical components, including my nut right there. I'm going to gently slide this thing back in, get all these other electrical components out of the way, and of course we have our coolant, so we need to move. I would suggest getting it in most of the way, but not all the way. That way you can get this thing back on, because it was a bear and a half to do when it was down there. Drop it back on. Just finger tightening for now. On she is. Take my extension off, and we get back in there. Have a righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Or clockwise, counterclockwise, whatever floats your boat. Whoops. Tighten it down snug. There we go. Then clip the door shut. Now we have to put this in its mounting points. Now it's maybe harder and more work than you'd think, because putting stuff back is much more work than putting it in. I stand corrected. It seemed to have popped right in place. let's get those smaller bolts on the inside out in first, just because I think that'd be a bit easier. Right, now remember to put the right bolts in the right place. Like I said before, if you have a baggie, I suggest using a baggie. If you do not, because it didn't seem like that difficult of a job. And since we're completing it in a day, it doesn't seem like it is. And you want to make sure you get your threads in just right, so not to cross thread anything. Now I always put everything on loose when it comes to this sort of thing, mainly because you never know if by chance your mountings weren't quite right, you have to adjust something. Last one goes right over here. Here's our mounting point from the bottom half, all good, and the top half can be self-adjusted. Alright, so we'll put our mounting bracket back on. Now, since I have leftover screws, as you can clearly see, from the other AC-DC converter, I'm going to use the less rusted screws, because there's no point in using those rusted up pieces of bolts. I'm going to use a nice screw right here. I might check, just make sure they're the same style screw. They both fit nice and tight. Just makes sense. You'll save yourself some hassle in the future. Who knows, this might fail again in 200,000 miles, and I'm sure it'll last that long again. And let's be honest, 200,000 miles and having a component like this break isn't that bad. Alright, now we're done with that, we'll go into our coolant here. And with these nice clamps, it's quite easy. You just take your coolant, pop it back in all the way. Make sure she goes in all the way there. Push down your clamp. Make sure she's nice and snug. Job's a good one. And this clamp fell off, unfortunately, so we'll have to put her back on halfway. You want to make sure your pin's on the right slots. You have these green slots here and the little snaps there. We tried getting it in, it wouldn't do it right because this was not in. So if you can, don't take it completely out like we did, because then it should just snap in place like that. And make sure it's nice and secure. Good, good, snug as a bug. And then we'll move on to the electrical components. Now, we have many of them here. I'm going to elect to do this one first. I feel it's the easiest one to do. And it'll attach real easy. Just pop it in place here, as you see. Pop it in place so we get the nice pinch screen to work. Pop it in nice and snug. There we go. And in she is. Good as butter, see? Not coming out at all. Then we'll get the other ones let in as well. Make sure you put the right ones in the right holes. There. Before we do that, to make my job harder, we should put these mounting bolts right here down. You see right there, that holds in the wires so they're nice and snug and they don't wobble about. Yeah, I don't use those. I use these. So another nice thing is all the screws are almost exactly the same for this job. That's very convenient. One there. That one right there. And down she goes. Now that I have that bracket in, I'm going to set all these in where they belong. Now make sure you remember where to put them. Take pictures, many pictures. I've always done pictures are the key to all this. Helps you remember where you put stuff. And these things just slide right in. It's quite nice, actually. Quite nice indeed. As you can see, now we have all the electric components in so far. That one, that one, that one, that one. And the one down there we already screwed in, and this one that we just popped in. Now we're going to take all the screws, put them back on, and tighten it down. We also have our mounting screws for some things on top. Right, so I hand tightened all these down, inside and out here. Now you have to make sure you do those just snug. And it turns out all the screws are exactly the same. pretty much. I mean, we have the bolt there that was different. The mounting bolts were different. These mounting bolts were the same. So all the same, so it truly does not matter where you put them. But make sure you only hand tighten these down. It's copper. Copper is fragile. It is very soft material. You don't want to destroy it. Right, now we just have to add our mounts here. And again, same screws. And these just hold in the wires nice and snug. That here too. And just these mounts here. And the plastic thing presses in right there. And then we have our cover to put on. Now, I don't remember which it is, but I'm assuming it's the cleanest one. It's the brand new one. It's very clean. Pops right in. There's a clip right there. It's a sensor. It tells you if the cover is on or not. And we simply put these back on. And it's got two little nubs right there. There's two little nubs to tell you exactly where it's supposed to go, so it's nice and convenient. If you know what I mean. Nubs are always nice and convenient. All in there. Lots of screwing today. Right. Now that we have all of these tightened down, nice and snug, everything's stuck in there, our mounts are good, all the electrical ports are hooked up, you see it's tight in there, we're going to put our air filter back in. Now, it's super easy to do this. It was just this A-hole right here that was the problem, and I'm sure it'll be a problem to get it back in. And we have this tube here which has to go on top of those clips there, so we put this on underneath the best you can, nice and snug. Put it in here. A-hole up here. This is the tough part. Let's get that stupid hose going here. There we go. Now it should be easy peasy. We have our bolt down here, and then a bolt here. There was nothing to it. Right, as you see, I have all three of the bolts are held in the air box right here. I'll just simply tighten them down. Protect the glasses. Tighten them down here. And this has a rubber grommet on this one, so you hear a bit of squeaking as it goes in. And it's just nice hand tight. It's not going anywhere, it just needs to be nice and tight. Tighten it down there. It looks like I already got it in good. And I'll tighten the one down there too. Alright, now we put the air filter back in, which I think my father should replace. Either way, he can do that later. This is Prius, after all, not mine. Then we put this back on. We're going to make sure we're careful. We have that connector there, which I chose not to take off because of more plastic clips breaking. So we snug that in right there, and you can see it's got a little notch there for it. And then you snug it into these slots right here that just slide right on in. As you can see, slide in, out, in, out, in, out. Yes, that's what she likes it. And then you simply lock it in place. And then after that, we have this stupid plastic crap that pushes down into a push button. Pushed in, pushed in. Plastic crap backwards belongs, and we are all done with the job besides filling the coolant. So we'll simply have to put coolant in there, fill it up to the nice high line, or low line, because as it gets hotter, it goes up, so you have to have space. And then we ought to test this thing out and see if it works. It's a Prius, so it doesn't really matter. Probably pretty as a land ornament. Space pulp! Right, I guess I did forget one thing. I need to put this plastic piece of shit back on, but you know what? I just like plastic crap, so we'll leave it off. It looks better anyways. You see the metal, it's beautiful. It's blue. It's fantastic. It'll help improve the airflow. Right, and my father will probably complain, but screw him, he can do it. Right, so we're going to put this negative battery cable on first. But this time, because I was annoyed with the position of it before, I'm going to put it right there. And as you can hear in the background, you hear the car beeping at me, telling me I have power. This way, next time I put it back on, I can use a ratchet instead of this ridiculous wrench. Hand tight to this, so tight. Just a tad tighter. Make sure it's nice and snug, so it won't go anywhere. Then we put this relay / fuse thing in. Now we take out the same way we put it in. Simply slide it there. Push in like so. Make sure it's clipped. Lock it in place. And it comes out the same way. Pull out like so. Nice and easy, nothing fancy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Right, now we put the rest of this back together. put coolant in the front, and start up. Well, now that we finished my father's car, we decided to drive this fantastic view. Isn't it lovely?
No, it's forking beautiful. It's kind of like what Top Gear would drive to.
Yes, we're just like Top Gear. And we decided to celebrate with some drinks. Cheers.
Cheers. Well, we hope you enjoyed this DC to DC inverter converter box into
AC
our...
to DC.
DC to DC.
It's AC to DC.
DC.
Why would you go DC to DC?
DC.
Anyways, we hope you enjoyed the video to my father's 2012 Toyota Prius. Prius.
Oh my goodness.
Well, anyways, this doesn't matter.
Aren't you driving that though? Didn't he loan it to you?
It's a temporary solution. I fudged up my bumper and then I decided to do the transmission. And it's a video upcoming soon.
If it ever gets done.
Quiet, you graphic designer. Anyways.
Oh, I gotta thank you for the hat.
Oh, not a problem. What are bros for?
We hope you enjoyed the video and
Tag your it. Oh boy. Oh, god damn it. This is what happens to have a tech guy do an auto guy's job. Whoa, Nelly. Well, now we got that out. Let's go do this thing proper. Whoa. There we go.